Welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Brandon, and today we're looking at Batman Ninja. During the charity livestream, one of our stretch goals was we would let the chat decide on what deck we would profile coming up, and enough of the chat decided on Batman Ninja, looking like specifically the villains deck. So, that's what we have today. I'm gonna just quickly breeze through it and then kind of talk about how you play it, looking at this villains Exodia deck thing. Starting off at 0. Starting off with Joker. Joke's on you. Discard a climax to return a villain character from waiting room to hand. So, on play, bring it back to hand. Pretty basic, especially with this climax lineup, which we're running with 8 bar. You're going to have climaxes in hand to be able to ditch out to get stuff back to hand. Next up, we have Joker. Happy-Go-Lucky. This is your drop search. Pay 1, discard 1, search your deck for a villain character. Pretty straightforward there. Next up, we have this Penguin, 500 global assist, and has the act ability to pay 1 to neg one of your opponents by 1k power. The neg power and global assist together actually really make something interesting here. You don't have a lot of leeway with this deck. Realistically, you're spamming stuff till you get to the end game to potentially close. Your goal is just to keep up. The pay 1 neg 1,000 can actually potentially remove characters to help your character stay alive longer, and potentially give you help out with reverses that we need for your level 1 combo. Next up, we have Deathstroke. On attack, you can grant another character power equal to that character's soul times 1,000. So either 1k or 2k, depending on who you're giving the power to. Next up, we have the Poison Ivy Castle. With the Exodia deck, you're trying to get all these castles on stage with the Joker balloon, so first castle right away at 0, perfect way to go. It's also the Brainstormer. This is kind of your main advantage engine throughout this thing. If it's in the correct slot for the Exodia position, you can give your character in the middle 1,000 power on your turn only. So on attack, you're able to give more power. Very helpful. Brainstorm is pay 1, rest 2 to salvage. So at this point, considering the age of the deck, that's expected. It's a little rough, but it's still salvage access. It's a Brainstormer, and it can grant 1,000 power to the middle, and you need it on field for basically the whole game anyway. So you can bring it out at 0, have it on the rest of the game. Way to go. We do also run the Harley Quinn. This is your search Ricky. Yeah. Pay 1, search for cost 0 character, and put it on any position of your stage, equal to or lower than your level. So if you're going to use this for your level 1 combo, 0-6 is a great place to do it because you can level up right there and search and then get your level 1 that you need. It's really good for that really single moment instance to help you get your Jokers. It also power pumps itself when your other characters attack, so it can get up to 3-5 by itself on your turn if it's the last card to swing. Overall, at 0, you're really looking at a relatively mediocre 0 lineup. You're looking at generically small powers, but they're also not super small, so like you can compete over your opponent's tech cards, but they're also not beaters to wall up defensively. So, which is a good thing because you really want reverse targets for your level 1 combo. Starting off at level 1, we have Joker, the Final Showdown. When a climax is placed, it gains 1,500 power. When your opponent becomes reversed, you can salvage a villain character and then choose one of your other characters on stage and give it 1,000 power. That rolling power can help build up power to get more reverses. You're salvaging from waiting room, so having a big waiting room is ideal, so you can get better selectivity with that. You do need a reverse for it, so kind of keeping an eye on whether or not you have reverse targets before throwing everything down and going for it. Something you're going to need to pay attention to. We also have the anti-change counter. Really fun that you can actually do this at level 1, where you can pay 2, discard 1 to anti-change one of your characters to put it in their waiting room. And it also gives 1,500 power. Really helps you deal into standby stuff, really helps you to deal with anything that changes really early. Getting it at 1, I think, is really interesting, because then you have access to get rid of opponents' 2/2s, so that way you can keep board in some way and be able to push damage in a way back at them. We also run the Lord Joker. On attack, if you have 2 or more other, it gains 2k power. So it becomes basically 107k on attack. not including any other bonuses, so that's really helpful for this deck as kind of that off level 1. The other level 1 that exists in this deck is the Penguin Castle, which again you need for the end game. It's also a bar support. Being able to salvage from clock, give a little bit more selectivity and access to clock really helps with that. So you can also turn bars into salvages from clock that way. As we go into level 2, we have a couple of the castles. We have the Deathstroke Castle, which if it's in the right position, it gains 500 for each of the other villain characters. And when placed on stage, gets power based off of the other characters as well. So it can get big, quick. And again, that's kind of what you want for a level 2, getting that power so you can win board. It's even more helpful when you do it all together, but it's really helpful to win board that way. You have the continuous power, so it stays pretty decently big. It sits at 9 if you have a full field without any other bonuses. 9's not great for power line, but it's still decent. It's going to beat over basically anything you have at 1. And then we also have the 2/1 Two-Face Castle. If it's in the right position, all of your other characters gain 1,000 power. So that's really helpful. It also has when you play a climax, you can give 1,000 power. So again, helping also with that level 1 combo, so you can kind of help cycle that level 1 combo a little bit to get the pieces to continue generating resources. 8 bar, hopefully get bars in hand to help make that happen. Helps pump power, push power, so you have actually quite a bit of power on your turn during your attack phase. When we hit level 3, we have a couple different things going on here. We have the early play, so as long as there's 2 or less, you can play this at 2. 1,000 power for each of your back row characters, so sitting at 11. Look it up to X, being the number of characters you have on field, and choose one of those cards to add to hand. Ways to help get climax, ways to help get cards you need. Early play so you can get big with power and continually add cards back to hand. This gets events, climaxes, so it's just kind of that helpful tech card to have in with this deck. We look at next at the Joker Balloon. This is the payoff for having the Exodia combo on stage. On play, draw 2, ditch 2, and then blind stock. Combo itself. So if you have this card and you have all the other castles on board, you can pay 2, pitch 1 to deal 4 damage to your opponent and then clock kick the card in front of you. All on climax play. So you still can swing with this card, you can still keep the climax on field, you have a lot of things going on. You get immediately on climax play, burn 4, clock kick. So it's a really interesting thing that goes along with it. Notably, you can only have really 1 copy of this on field to be able to do that. I run it at a 2 of, just to make sure that I get it into hand, but you can only really have 1 of this combo go off at the end game. And this is really what you're setting up for the villain's deck. You're setting up for a burn 4 and then a clock kick. And then you're swinging vanillas. So, yeah. We also run this 3/4 event, the Exploding Barrel, so it's deal 4 damage to all players, and then choose a level 3 or lower and remove it from your opponent's field. So it has targeted removal from center stage, and a burn 4 attached with it. Since you're not playing a whole bunch of stock for your combo itself, you could throw this alongside it to have a burn 4, and then climax play burn 4, clock kick, and then you go into your vanilla swings. So it has a little bit more interesting top end there with that. Notably, it's 4 damage to all players, so you potentially could also just eat 4 damage. So it's something to pay attention to.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
So looking at this deck as a whole, really just trying to set up the castles and getting the Joker Balloon. With that, you're using the Joker combo to get reverses when you can, to get pieces there. You're relying on the Brainstormer for continual card into hand, and using your hand filter tools for bar to, when you trigger the bar, pay bar back out for the cards you need at the point in time. It's a really interesting deck, and it may surprise you with the wins that it gets. With that, that's the Batman Villains deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, we're so thankful for all of you who were able to be a part of that charity live stream event. We're raising over $500 to be able to give out to charity to the Foundation to Decrease World Suck. We're really excited that we were able to all partner together to do that. On Thursday, we're going to have some gameplay of this, so you can actually see this deck in action. This weekend coming up is the Bushiroad Rumble Online Tournament. So if you have not yet signed up, you have the opportunity to do that. If you have not registered, quickly do that. If you're missed registration, feel free to check that out. They're going to stream this weekend's events through their Twitch streams. There are a lot of great players already signed up, and even more that I expect to sign up by the time this video is live. Looking forward to participating in those events. Colton and I will both be in the tournaments, so we hope to maybe run into you there. Hope to see you at the top tables. On Tuesday of next week, we're going to kind of recap what's been going on during this Rumble Online tournament, see kind of how the decks played out, see kind of where our predictions fell for what happened, as well as talk about some of the stats from the game. We're going to do our best to try to collect that information once again, so we could get a good idea of what the current landscape is, especially as we prepare currently for a potential Springfest in person. They've announced that that is what they desire to do. Be interesting to see if we're able to follow through with that during that time. But as we get ready, looking ahead again from Rumble to Springfest, should be interesting to see what the landscape looks like now for online tournaments and how that translates into in-person tournaments. So all of that to be just looked at this next Tuesday, and then the following Thursday, we're going to be looking at some of the Bang Dream cards, looking at some of the cards from rares and double rares. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, have a good one.